Tonight on Jinkajalo, I'm giving my peace testimony for North Korea. Hi everybody, so there's more news about North Korea, so I guess I should talk about it. Someone asked me, so let's talk about North Korea some more. Let's talk about Kim Jong-un. And some interesting news I just got off the Atlantic, I believe. I should double check that source, but it'll be everywhere. I think I've seen it. North Korea has decided to enter into peace talks with South Korea, and this is in motion now. And this is after Trump made that embarrassing and hilarious tweet about having a bigger nuclear button than North Korea, than Kim Jong-un. And so I think this is going to lead to another victory for Donald Trump. And I also wanted to use this time facing, I guess, is it west? Facing west. To give my Quaker peace testimony regarding North Korea and regarding what I think has happened there. So for a moment, let's all be Quakers together. I'm speaking to you as a capital F friend. You're all on my rooftop here, next to my fire pit right here, and we are talking about peace. And this is my testimony, and I've broken the silence to speak to all of you, to tell you that I don't think that there is going to be war in North Korea. And I think that foreign policy is going to have amazing changes that will lead to liberation beyond our wildest hopes and dreams. And this is what I honestly believe, and this is what I honestly think is in the stars for North Korea, and for eventual reunification and for eventual sharing of just the beauty and the abundance of the land of morning calm. That said, I must say a few things about South Korea, and I must say a few things because, I have it on my mind a lot, and that's where I began my strange journey, which has lasted almost 10 years now, of spiraling around the world in the hopes of just liberating my thought and finding peace with myself and coming to terms with a lot of horrible mistakes that I made when I was younger, and stuff that I went through, and improper responses to everything. I went to South Korea directly from St. Louis almost 10 years ago. Well, it was 10 years ago. I guess it was in 2008. It would have been 10 years ago last summer. And it was really love at first sight. When I first saw it, it was just so strange because it wasn't my first time overseas, but it was my first time in somewhere that far and somewhere that strange. And I remember just taking I got booked into my apartment right away, and the morning before work, I just walked a few blocks around in my neighborhood, and I got lost, and I couldn't find my way back. But fortunately, I was able to kind of piece it together. But at that point, my fresh eyes could not read anything. I did not understand Hangul. I had a hard time remembering the strange names and words for everything. And I used to walk around that neighborhood quite a bit before I moved further north in my city of Daejeon. And I would often see people working late at night, and people drinking late at night, every night. And I remember once I was walking home late from work after having dinner, and I saw what looked like a businessman, a young yuppie professional type wearing a business suit, one of those shiny ties. Like, it was the style back then. It was like a glistening, shiny, metallic look on his clothes. It looked expensive. It looked hip. It looked with the times for fashion in Korea at that time. And I saw him jump on top of a minivan, of all things. You don't see minivans in Daejeon, but I guess I am thinking in terms of Vietnam. Yeah, I guess there are more cars there, but he stood on top of a minivan, and he just started jumping on the roof of it, the hood of it, and started pounding his fist down. And I didn't know if he was drunk or what, or angry or what. And then there were other situations where I'd be at the train station. I lived near a train station, and I would see couples arguing and just women crying, and like there was so much drama going on around me all the time. It seemed so stressful. It seemed so uptight. It seemed even worse than my situation in Wisconsin, but at least at least it was different. But my situation, my feelings about Korea changed when I was attacked and mugged and thrown in the hospital for about a month. And of my first 3 months in overseas, in what has become my career now for 10 years, I spent a month of that in a hospital having surgery. I reread Huckleberry Finn and Margaret Atwood's Handmaid's Tale. I remember. But anyway, I didn't know anything about the attackers, but I knew about people's response to it, and there was kindness and there was love, and it did bring me back to churches at some point in Korea, but it also made me realize that, I felt like a complete outsider, and the things that I'd seen and the things that I was witnessing day to day put me on the other side of a wall that I would never get over. I look at South Korea and I think that there is such an insular culture, and on a scale much deeper than anywhere else, including China, Vietnam, even Saudi, where there is an open-hearted welcoming of new voices and new faces to what they have. I didn't see that in Korea, but maybe I am blinded by my own experience. There was a joke that I remember telling, and one of my friends who was there first, who helped me get there, he was saying that his a mutual friend of ours back home was asking him, when he said he was moving to South Korea, she was asking him, so are you going to the good Korea or the bad Korea? And he said, well, I'm going to the good one. And I said to him, well, you should have said, they're both bad, but you're going to the one that's not as bad. And that was a little joke that we shared. And it's something I said, one of many just callous things that, out of anger I reacted to, talking about just how bad Korea was. And he visited me in the hospital, and he saw me in bandages and all that. That's a world away. But I don't think I can enter into any meaningful discourse about Korea's north or south without thinking about that. And even though I've come to my own terms as far as forgiving that country and what happened to me, I still think about it, and I still think about my perceptions and to what extent they were true and to what extent they were biased regarding the insular nature of Korean culture. But it's not something that I've experienced alone. It's something that I've talked to or I've expressed and shared feelings with other people. Anyway, which Korea is bad, North Korea or South Korea? That's the question. Well, North Korea, let's take a look at what's happened there. Let's take a look at what's happened only in recent memory. Let's remember Otto Warmbier. I'm going to still bring him up. I'm going to keep bringing him up. I remember some Canadian cuck defending or joking about him. This Canadian guy saying, well, the police in America brutalize their people all the time. Anyway, it's the same thing. Well, no, it's not the same thing, my friend. And that's part of my peace testimony, is that North Korea has been bullies to us. They have abducted and hurt our people. And for Trump to send that silly tweet, which has led to peace talks, is proof that he's doing something right. And what more do I even have to say about that, except that I am very optimistic about the future in regards to North Korea, and that is my peace testimony. And I think that what we have been doing is going to keep working. As soon as we expose them, as soon as we get them tapped into Western culture and all of the bounty that it brings, good Lord. One thing I miss about South Korea, and one thing that I hope to see again, and I will see again on my next trip, whenever that may be, is just the amazing grocery stores. And Korean food is delicious, and Korean produce is so clean, and it's so wonderful. It was amazing, like so easy to cook fresh meals all the time. Easier than in Vietnam, and certainly easier than in China, I would say. Easier than anywhere. Easier than the States to find quality food. And it's not just the produce I'm talking about. I'm talking about the junk food. Korean junk food is so good. All their candy bars, all their snack cakes and stuff, which you are able to buy anywhere, including here in Vietnam.